Hello and welcome back to another video. So today we're working on the Yokomo SO 2.0 and we have a world exclusive for MHRC, which is the very soon to be released Willspeed motor mount for the Yokomo range of two-wheel drive cars. So this will fit all the different variants of the YZ2 up to the latest SO 3.0. This particular version is an SO 2.0 with some 3.0 parts and fully decked out in the Willspeed upgrade parts. So this new item here is a updated motor mount and fan mount for the car, and it will basically do away with the waterfall brace there. So we'll change the flex characteristics of the back end of the car, but it's double braced at the bottom, as you can see, and it also comes with a fan mount as well. So we'll move the car to one side and open the packet and have a look what you get. Right, so here's what you get in the packet. So we've got the motor mount here, the hardware for the motor mount, and then this is the fan mount. So we'll have a look at a bit more detail of fitting this up shortly. So obviously the star of the show is the motor mount here, which is beautifully machined out of aluminium. And then you've got the mounting points there, and then we've got the Willspeed logo engraved on there as well. So really nice, stealthy looking part. Then here's the fan mount. So that takes a 30mm fan, and those bolts here are to basically mount the fan up as well. And this bolts in the existing chassis holes within the Yokomo car. So let's get the car apart and start fitting this up. So first things first, we're going to remove the waterfall mount there. So the 2 screws there and then 2 screws under the chassis. And then take the slipper clutch off and take the motor mount away from the gearbox. So that's the waterfall and slipper clutch assembly removed, so that can give us access to the 3 M3 countersunks that hold the motor plate to the gearbox, and also the spur gear cover there as well. And obviously we've got to remove the motor as well, so we'll just get that done and out of the way. So there we have the motor plate removed from the car, and here it is down here. So now we're just going to transfer over the spur gear cover onto the Willspeed motor mount. So that's the spur gear cover fitted. So now we'll get that onto the car itself. So we'll just feed that over the lay shaft, push it into position like so, like that, and then basically reuse the standard Yokomo hardware that comes to hold the motor mount on. So that's the 3 screws mounted up to the gearbox from the motor mount itself, and I've just loosely mounted up the motor to stop that moving around. So now we're going to flip the car over and then use the Willspeed hardware just to put the screws in underneath. So there we are. So these are just nipping the motor mount screws up themselves like so. Again, don't go mad doing these up because it is aluminium. And then basically we're using this hole and then this hole here to mount the motor mount to the chassis. So we'll just get this one fitted up. Up to you if you use a little bit of thread lock. Normally speaking, they hold okay, but a little dab of thread lock won't go amiss. So that's the slipper clutch all refitted now. So next up is to fit the fan mount up itself. So we've got the M3x6 countersunk hardware for the fan mount itself, and then these longer screws basically will mount through the fan and into the fan mount itself. So I'm just going to go and grab a 30mm fan and then get that fitted up. So I've just mounted up the fan with the supplied hardware. You can see the thread sticking a little bit out the other side, but this is quite a thin plastic fan. Most of the guys tend to run the aluminium, slightly thicker versions, which obviously the bolt length will be perfect for that. But anyway, you could either swap the bolts out. They're only obviously cheap things most of us have in our box. But for the purpose of the video, we'll just use the stock hardware, and then I'll probably get a flashier alley fan for this car in the future. Anyway, let's get this slid under here like so, and then get that bolted into the holes like that. So I've just started threading these in. So these are the 2 holes for the fan mount there. So we'll just nip those up, and then again, this is a sort of printed piece, so don't go mad on doing these super tight, and it's only supporting a fan anyway. So just nip them up gently like that. Then we'll just do this one. How boring is that, watching a screw go in? There we go. So just nip those slightly. And there we go, so that's the fan in. So what we're going to do now is just neaten up the cabling, run that down the centre, a little bit of tape, put the under LiPo weight. This is a pretty big one we tend to run in the Yokomo cars. Obviously you've got the smaller ones for the size of the LiPo, but again you can just shift that forwards and backwards with the lovely Willspeed battery mount. So let's just get that done, and then that'll be the car finished. and we'll show it done. So there we are, that's the finished article. Looks really, really tidy, really cleaned up the look of the car. So I'll just zoom out a bit, there we are. So there's obviously the old parts there that we're not using anymore. Just one other thing I'm going to do, which doesn't come in the pack, is I'm just going to put some small little M3 by 6 button heads in there just to fill those holes up, basically just to make it look a bit neater. Maybe I'll have a word with the guys so we can do a little 3D printed part in there, something like that, or a little carbon piece would look pretty neat. Anyway, there you go, that's that finished up. I'll just whip those bolts in and show you that. There we are, so just fitted up those little bolts in the gearbox there, and just again cleans up the look of the car a bit. So there we go, that is it all finished up. Looks really, really nice, really freshened up the look of the car. Made it look a bit more modern with the waterfall fitted. You know, flex wise it feels you know, feels about the same as before. Might be a little bit stiffer, so that'll be great for your carpet high traction surfaces, and I'm sure you could play around with removing one screw or leaving one in, who knows, but something to try anyway. But yeah, looks super neat, and obviously for the stock racers out there, having the fan mounted up like that directly in front of the motor will obviously reduce your temperatures quite a lot, and I know in the stock classes that's quite critical as you gear the living daylights out of them. So there we go. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.